Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the preview of the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association stakes race that will be run here at Del Mar on July 19, 2013. It kicks off the first Friday night racing, I guess you could call it. Once again, I'm here with Matt. Thanks for joining me once again, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Carlos. And this is a race. It looks like it's one Sprouts. It's her race to lose, and we'll see if she likes this track. But a lot of horses coming off of maiden wins here. There's even a maiden in this race, the For Angie's Curl. She hasn't even won a race. So lightly raced 2-year-olds, obviously most of them are. But Sprouts is 2 for 3. She recently won the Cinderella Stakes, and she looks very difficult here.
Yeah, I agree. Sprouts is coming in as the 8-5 morning line favorite. Has won her last 2 starts. She won the Cinderella. She beat Time for Angie, who's also in this race, who finished third, but finished a distance 4.5 lengths back. Sprouts just seems like the horse to beat here, right?
The thing is, she's on the rail, so on a sprint race, you don't want to draw the rail. But even today, there were a couple horses that just went right from the rail and dashed out there and did just fine. So if she breaks well, she should be fine. It's just a matter of she breaks well enough, and if she stalks and sits off the pace, is she going to get pinned down in there? That's the main question she has. I mean, if she had an outside post, I would be inclined to just single her on my tickets, and I may even anyway. She's a horse that is a lot of people are going to be singling this horse just because she broke her maiden impressively after her first start, where she probably just needed the start. She came back, won by 5.5 lengths, and then she won impressively again, sitting off the pace. She showed she could relax. So Sprouts is going to be very difficult here, but I think it's her race to lose, and in order for I think the one hole is the only negative I see in this horse. And of course, is she going to handle this poly track? Because the poly track is much different than the cushion track over at Betfair Hollywood Park.
Yeah, I mean Sprouts just like I said, she just seems like the standout in this race. And I've tried really hard to like you said, she seems like a single in this race. And I sat here, and being the pick 4 player I am and the pick 3 player I am, honestly, the other races are pretty deep. And if I'm looking for a single, this is probably where I'd go with Sprouts. The interesting thing is all these horses have never trained on this track, so these horses are going to get their first taste of this poly track. And like you said, that's the only really concern is, will Sprouts really be able to handle this poly track? Will she be able to take to it well? I mean, her past 2 races have just been so impressive that, I'm one to be optimistic and say she will, but, there's times where horses just don't run well on this poly track at all. I mean, some contenders in this race. You could look at the 5 Time for Angie, who, like I said, lost to Sprouts, but had a nice maiden win. She's been facing open company, so that's pretty positive. Edwin gets aboard. Walter Solis, we know Walter Solis tends to have a lot of 2-year-old fillies in this kind of race, or 2-year-olds in general in Calbreds. So Time for Angie's an interesting horse here as well.
Time for Angie at the same time still got beat by Sprouts by a good distance. So it appears that Sprouts, again, is just the more superior racehorse here. But Time for Angie, we'll see with Maldonado, if he's going to show a little more speed into her this time. And she's been running consistent 53 buyers. But again, maybe she might be a little closer to the pace there. But Time for Angie is still going to have to improve just a bit to beat Sprouts, because Sprouts just beat her by a very good distance. She didn't lose by a nose or a half length or even a length. She lost by 4.5 lengths. So she will have to improve off that effort, as will the rest of these fillies.
Yeah, we'll look at one more, maybe a couple more contenders here real quick. We'll look at number 6, Arlington Rose, who's had 3 starts. Finally broke her maiden last out with Tyler Bays, who was aboard. Was able to beat another contender in this race who draws the outside post for Doug O'Neill and Kevin Krieger with Smooth It, who also, after losing to Arlington Rose in that last out, came back to win in a maiden special weight once again at Betfair Hollywood Park. Mario Gutierrez did ride Smooth It. Obviously, Mario Gutierrez goes with the better horse and Sprouts, but Arlington Rose could be an interesting horse here. Shows some speed. Might be, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Arlington Rose.
She'll be part of the pace, I think, because she ran her best race on the lead, which was last time she was sitting second by a head, but at one point she was on the lead. So she will be part of that pace if she breaks well. And she's got a good post position, the sixth post, so Talmo can look inside of him for a number of these fillies to see exactly what they're doing. But again, she just broke her maiden, so she's taken a step up here in class. And note that her second start, her maiden special weight, where she sort of threw in a clunker and finished fifth, well beaten. Sprouts beat her that day. That was the maiden that Sprouts won. So again, Arlington Rose, she could be part of that pace, and I think you definitely need to use this filly in in your exotic bets if you want an exacta or a trifecta. It's a good way to go because she ran a good race last time, but in Moving Dessert, the horse who finished second to her, was a crushing maiden winner opening day here at Del Mar, so that's a positive sign. She beat Smooth It as well, so Arlington's Rose beat some nice little fillies there. But again, she is facing a tough one in Sprouts. But Arlington Rose is the logical second choice here, and you can use her in your exotic picks because even though it's going to be a pretty good pace because it's a sprint race here, Arlington Rose was in a pace duel, and she still won last time. So she, I think, will be the most logical pick if you want to try to beat Sprouts.
Yeah, Arlington Rose, definitely. I made that horse one of my picks, but like I said, Sprouts is going to be my single. Let's talk about a little bit about Smooth It real quick. Kind of didn't run well when she lost to Arlington Rose and Moving Desert. She ran a distant third there, lost by 3 3/4, and then she came back and she really improved second time out for Doug O'Neill. Ever since then, she hasn't really been working all that great with 103 and 104, so the workouts aren't saying much. But she is it looks like she is a half sister to Sprouts, being both out of Squire Eddie. So, that's an interesting fact, I guess.
Square Eddie's well represented here. And Smooth It, actually, she got breezing work on June 23rd. Even though that was slow, that was a breezing work, so that's a positive. Maybe that first race, she might have just needed it. That's what I'm thinking. But she still ran third. It was respectable, even though there's a low buyer there. And again, Arlington Rose and Moving Desert both proved to be nice little fillies there. And she came back and won. So her second start, she improved. And maybe she can improve a little bit more here and get a piece of it, maybe even get a win. She's got a good outside post. Maybe Sprouts gets stuck behind traffic and Smooth It gets first run on her. Kevin Krieger gets aboard. 5-1 on the morning line might be a little bit of an overlay there. So you might want to take a look at Smooth It. Again, guys, a nice outside post. I like that Krieger can look inside of him and see what the others are doing. But Smooth It also will be part of that pace. She won on that lead last time, so you should expect her, as well as Arlington Rose, be close to the pace.
We'll talk about one last horse here real quick, and the 7 Says Who. Says Who was originally supposed to be ridden by Garrett Gomez, but he looks like he will not be riding anytime soon. So he'll get Rafael Bejarano aboard this time for Peter Miller. And Bejarano did ride this horse last out when this horse lost to Smooth It, and the horse was actually bet down a good amount there in the first time out. And since then has been working okay up at Betfair Hollywood Park. Had a good workout of 47-4. It's interesting for me to sit here because Bejarano won this race last year aboard Tild for Mike Harrington. And, another interesting fact, Tild is in full with Creative Cause. So Says Who, Bejarano looks to win another CTBA for the second straight year. It's interesting to see him get aboard this horse again. She'll improve a lot. I mean, she was bought for $150,000 back in April. So I think Says Who might be a good long shot play possibly here.
Again, yeah, she was purchased for $150,000, which means they thought highly of her going into that sale. Bejarano gets back aboard, which is a positive, and they're taking the blinkers off today. So the blinkers are it's a move where some horses relax, some horses wake up, and in this case, I would say that they're taking the blinkers off to try to wake up this filly because last time she didn't show speed at all and was well beaten. Again, a nice little work there, 47-4. So they're trying to wake her up here. It appears when you work a horse fast like that, sometimes they're trying to wake him up. So Says Who, not saying that she's going to be part of the pace because she's going to wake up like that, but I mean in the stretch have something, and she may have needed that first race. And again, like you said, she should come second time out much improved. It's just a matter of if she's good enough to beat a horse like Sprouts, who is developed, has won a couple races here, and is on a roll. She's doing well. So says who is in it at 10-1 though. You might want to take a shot with her.
Yeah, I think she'd be a good long shot play. I mean, it's interesting to see Peter Miller put this horse from a maiden. I mean, this horse is a maiden. This horse has never won. You know, she finished six lengths back of Smooth It. And yeah, I guess Peter Miller has really liked the way this filly has been working in the mornings, that he's going to put her in this spot. So, you know, Peter Miller is off to a great start at Del Mar as well this year. He's pretty much the leading trainer right now, and so he'll look to add another one with the CTBA. But that's it for the preview of the CTBA. Once again, thank you for joining me here, Matt. It's always good to have you here.
Thanks for having me again, Carlos, and I will be back. Hopefully.
Yep, we'll be back. We'll be back with more stakes previews during this Del Mar meet. Once again, thanks, Matt, and I will see you next time.
Sounds good. See you soon, Carlos.